Hey y'all, and welcome back. Today we're going to be talking a little bit more about the associative property. Remember, we said associate means to hang out with, or like your group. So I'm going to write the keyword group. And in math, we use some special symbols to show that they're hanging out together, or they're grouped together. We use these parentheses. So those parentheses hold numbers together. And they say, these guys really like each other. They should happen first. Let's see some examples. The associative property says that we can group numbers together in different ways, and we should still get the same answer out. Let's try some. 2 plus 3 plus 5. If addition has the associative property, then I should be able to group this together in 2 different ways and still get the same answer. Let's group it together in 2 different ways. 2 plus 3 plus 5, and I've got 2 plus 3 plus 5. Both sides are the same right now. I'm going to change these sides by having them grouped together slightly differently. On this side, I'm going to group together the 2 and the 3. And on this side, I'm going to group together the 3 and the 5. If the associative property is true for addition, then when I solve both of these sides, I should get the same answer. Let's test it out. I've got 2 plus 3. Because they're in the parentheses, they're friends. They want to go together first. 2 plus 3 gives me 5. Then I have to bring down this 5, which I didn't touch before. 5 plus 5 gives me 10. So on this side I have 10. Let's try the red side. 3 plus 5. In this case, because those guys are in the parentheses, they're friends, so they have to go together first. 3 plus 5 gives us 8. Then I have to bring down this 2, which I didn't touch. So 2 plus the 8 gives us 10. And because both sides are the same, that means that addition has the associative property. I can change how they're grouped together, and I should still get the same answer. Now I'm going to give you an opportunity for you to try one. So I'm going to write out some numbers, and I want you to come up with 2 different ways of associating those numbers. So let's say now that I've got 10 plus 2 plus 4. I want you to write down 10 plus 2 plus 4, and I want you to come up with 2 different ways that you could group them together. Go ahead and pause the video and do that now. Okay, hopefully you've come up with 2 different ways of grouping together 10 plus 2 plus 4. I'm going to show you the 2 most common ways that people would group these together. You might say the 10 and the 2 are friends, so we're going to put those in parentheses and group them together. Or you might say the 2 and the 4 are friends. And if the 2 and the 4 are friends, I'm going to put those in parentheses and group them together. If the associative property is true, then both of these should give us the same answer. Let's test it out. 10 plus 2 gives us 12, plus the 4 that I still have to bring down. 12 plus 4 gives us 16. Over here, 2 plus 4, those guys are friends, so that has to happen first. 2 plus 4 gives us 6, plus the 10 that I have to bring down. 10 plus 6 gives us 16. So I get the same answer. Since I get the same answer, I know that the associative property works for addition. Now we're going to do the same thing as we will for all of these properties, and we're going to test out, we're going to see whether it works for addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division. Let's test it out. Pause the video and think to yourself, do you think it's going to work for addition? Do you think it's going to work for subtraction? Do you think it's going to work for multiplying? Do you think it's going to work for dividing? Pause the video now and think. Okay, hopefully you've had a chance to think about whether it's going to work for addition, subtraction, multiplying, and dividing. I want you to give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down whether you think it's going to work. Adding, do you think it's going to work for adding? Thumbs up or thumbs down. Subtracting, do you think it's going to work for subtracting? Give me a thumbs up or thumbs down. Multiplying, thumbs up, thumbs down. Dividing, thumbs up, thumbs down. Okay, now you've locked in your answers, let's check them. We've already seen that it works with adding. That's what our examples were. We can show it again very quickly by saying 10 plus 1 plus 2. If I group together the 10 plus the 1, I'll get the same answer as if I group together the 1 and the 2. When I solve this out, 10 plus 1 is 11, plus the 2 gives us 13. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus the 10 gives us 13. I end up with the same answer, so it does work for adding. The associative property works for adding. Let's try for subtracting. Remind yourself, did you think it was going to work or it wasn't going to work for subtracting? Let's test it out. On subtracting, I've got 7 minus 5 minus 1. If this works, then I should be able to group this together in two different ways. So let's try it out. If the associative property will work, I should be able to group them together in two possible ways. So I'm going to write two possible groups. One group like this, and one group like this. On my group on to the left, we have 7 and 5 hanging out together. On the group on the right, I've got the 5 and the 1 hanging out together. What we're going to do is we're going to test out and see if I'm going to get the same answer. Remember, we said that groups are like friends, so they like to stick together. They like to be the first ones that happen. 7 minus 5 gives us 2. Then I have to bring down this minus 1, which I haven't done yet. 2 minus 1 gives us 1. Okay, so on the left side, we said our answer is 1. Let's try it out on the right side. On the right side, we said 5 and 1 are friends. They're grouped together. So 5 minus 1, that gives us 4. Then I have to bring down this 7 and this minus symbol that I didn't use yet. 7 minus 4 gives us 3. Wait a second, those should be the same number. If subtraction had the associative property, those would be the same number. But because they are not equal, then I know that subtracting doesn't have the associative property. I'm going to put a big X through subtracting. It doesn't work. Were you right? Were you wrong? Let's try multiplying. When I try multiplying, let's come up with some numbers. I've got 2 times 3 times 4. If this works, I should be able to put them in different orders or group them together in different sets and come up with the same answer. If the associative property works for multiplying, I should be able to group them together in different ways and get the same answer. So on the left, I'm going to group together the 3 and the 2. And on the right, I'm going to group together the 3 and the 4. I've got two different groupings. If the associative property works for multiplying, I should get the same answer out. Go ahead and try it out for yourself and see, did it work? And then I'll come back and I'll show you. Okay, so hopefully you've had a chance to try it out for yourself. Let's go ahead and let's solve it together. We said these parentheses mean they're friends. They have to go together first. 2 times 3 gives us 6 times the 4 that we have to bring down. Well, 6 times 4, that's 6, 12, 18, 24. So I've got 24 on the red side. Let's look at the blue side. 3 times 4, those guys are friends because they're in the parentheses, so they have to happen first. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times the 2 I didn't do yet. 12 times 2 also gives us 24. So because these two numbers are the same, we know that multiplying has the associative property. It will work with association. So I'm going to put a check mark here for multiplying. What do you think for dividing? Remind yourself, did you say it's going to work for dividing or it's not going to work for dividing? What do you think? All right, let's test it out. So when I test out dividing, let's go with some big numbers here. I've got 60 divided by 3 divided by 2. Okay, 60 divided by 3 divided by 2. If this is going to work for dividing, if dividing has the associative property, I should be able to group those numbers together in different ways and still get the same answer. Let's test it out. I've got 60 divided by 3 divided by 2. If on the blue, I group together the 60 and the 3, and on the red, I group together the 3 and the 2, let's check out and let's see what we've got. 60 divided by 3, that's going to give us 20. And 20 divided by 2, that's going to give us 10. Over here on the red side, if dividing has the associative property, I should get the same answer. Let's check it out. 3 divided by 2, because they're in the parentheses, they're friends, which means that they want to hang out together. So let's see what we end up with. 3 divided by 2 gives us 1.5, or 1.5. Then I have to bring down this 60, which I didn't use up before. 60 divided by 1.5, whoa, that doesn't look like that's going to give me 10, because if I guess 60 divided by 1, that's going to give me 60. 60 divided by 2, well, 60 divided by 2 would give me 30. So this is going to be somewhere between 30 and 60. That's nowhere near 10. In fact, if I do 60 divided by 1.5, I'm going to end up with 40. So because I can see that 10 and 40 are not the same, then that means that dividing doesn't have the associative property. Hopefully this helped you out a little bit more with the associative property. Let me know if you have any questions. Goodbye.